This week on Front End Fire, we have more security vulnerabilities in RSC land to discuss. Anthropic is trying to garner some more OSS goodwill, and we're going to do a wrap up of CSS in 2025. It's Front End Fire. Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Front End Fire, the weekly show that helps you stay up to date on the latest and the greatest in the front end world. I'm your host today, TJ Van Tol. I have Jack Harrington with me.
Hello.
And Paige Nietringhaus.
Hey, hey.
And I have a fun tip for both of you, just off the top, completely out of the blue. But
okay.
I discovered a Firefox feature today. And I don't know if this is new or if I've just not noticed it before, but when you copy a link, sometimes you want to just grab a URL of something. Sure. Maybe you want to send it to anybody or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In Firefox, in that little tooltip that pops up, there's an option to copy clean URL, which basically just cuts all the crap out of the query string.
The UTM strings.
Right.
All that nonsense.
You get the link with the Amazon link or whatever.
All the tracking junk.
Amazon is exactly where I was, because I was sending my wife something, right? It's around Christmas time, and then Amazon chucks on 500 characters to the end of the URL for some ungodly reason.
And it's all tracking. Yeah.
But there you go. Yeah. So everybody should switch to Firefox.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
The privacy browser.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Because it looks like garbage, right? I mean, it just looks like
it does.
Yeah. Oh, I obsessively clean that stuff up.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
People
will
judge
check
me.
It afterwards. It's like, wait, does it still work? Yes, okay.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Nobody ever does that for me, though. They always just give me the garbage.
Oh, they want the trackers.
No, they don't care. They don't. It's not like it's just like. It's
Mm-hmm.
like
Well, the people that care are like exclusively listening to this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
Right.
Exactly.
That's why I mention it here, because if you're listening, you care. That's why we bring this up.
We want them to look pretty.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some front end stuff.
Yes.
All right, Jack, do you want to start us off? Because I hear that we're now the security podcast, I feel like.
Man, I feel really bad for the React team. I genuinely do. So there was a CVE a couple weeks ago that kind of caused folks to go and update their React, 19 and 18 instances. And unfortunately, the security analysis that is stemmed from that original CVE has exposed two more critical vulnerabilities. They've been fixed. And there's apparently a kind of non-critical vulnerability. I don't know really what that means in this context, but so there's possibly a third. Yeah, so basically, there's been a lot of talk about like which frameworks do you have to do this for? And basically everybody, the kind of simple version is everything on React, but that's not actually the reality. So the reality is that if your server is supporting RSCs, then its support of server functions is going to be compromised. Even if you don't use server functions, it would be my guess. Because basically what's happening is it's the way that they're parsing the flight data that is coming back from the client to the server function endpoints. All right, that is causing the issue. So even if you're just using the app router, but you're not using server functions on the app router, then you really should upgrade. Yeah, absolutely should upgrade. And then there's also, I think there's Waku, Remix, or React Router 7 would be vulnerable. But Tanzac Start is not going to be vulnerable. I think Redwood SDK would be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's really just the ones that are using the app router that you got to watch out for, which is hopefully a good clarification for folks. Yeah. Well, yeah,
a lot of them. Next.js.
Pages router, though, if you're still on Pages router, I think you're fine.
Yes. Yeah, because Pages router, it doesn't support RSCs. You have to switch to the app router. So even though, like for our application for blues.dev at work, we are on React 19 and I think maybe Next.js 15 or 16 at this point, but we don't use the app router. So we've upgraded, obviously, just to be safe. Better to be safe than sorry. But I don't think that we really would have been affected by this, to be honest.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're not, if you have inertia on your side, you might be fine.
Well, and just to be extremely clear with people, this is a different patch version than we talked about last week.
Right.
So this means that, yes, you are going to have to upgrade again. It is just a minor bump. It's, for me, I bumped it up this morning, even though our app is, the main app I work on does not have this vulnerability. I don't know. I'm just an anxious person. So I like to make sure I'm on the latest and greatest, and it's a pretty easy upgrade. You just bump up your patch version number and get that out there. Make sure to run npm install so your package lock gets updated as well. Just get it out there. Better safe than sorry.
Exactly. This has made news in so many newsletters that have never, and Vercel has sent out emails, all kinds of platform hosting companies have sent out emails as well. So this is really a big deal, even if you don't necessarily think that your website is, going to get pwned. Just do it anyway. Just be safe.
And the vulnerability is quite bad too.
Yeah.
Like, this is not like a trivial thing. It's just kind of getting you access to whatever server you're running and potentially opening you to other exploits. So it's not one you really want to fool around with.
Yeah.
Fun. Well, on that note, I guess, Paige, do you have any more uplifting news for us?
I do. So Anthropic has just donated MCP, the MCP framework, to the Agentic AI Foundation, which is underneath the Linux Foundation. So that's cool. It just seems really, really quick, because as they go through in the post that I read to prepare for this, it was just a single year ago that MCP was actually introduced and made a thing by Anthropic.
Yeah.
And now, a year later, there are 10,000 active public MCP servers that are out there in the world. All the major AI companies have adopted it. So ChatGPT, Cursor, Gemini, Copilot, VS Code, they're all supporting it in one way or another. And they are apparently joining two other companies, Goose by Block, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, Goose is cool. I like Goose.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe you can talk about Goose. And then Agents MD, which is OpenAI's creation for the inside of the AI Foundation. And I just didn't know that this AI Foundation existed. It's under the Linux Foundation. So, it's got that going for it. But yeah, I didn't know that it was really a thing, but it's great though. MCP has really taken over. But it's really amazing how quickly they have transferred it over, its ownership over to the foundation instead. So
I think it's probably a little bit of, it just got to be more of a maintenance headache than they would have originally thought. Just like
probably,
the straight up time involved, because it gets a lot of comments and new protocol stuff on top of it all the time. It's very heavy when it comes to churn on that particular. And then there's also MCP UI, which is on top of it. And there's just a lot of standards exploding in the AI space.
Yeah. Well, 10,000 servers in 1 year just tells you how quickly people are building them and spinning them up. So that's
following on the X memes, how many users are there?
Right.
Are there more MCP user or MCP builders than there are users? Maybe.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because I saw an article that came out maybe a week or two before this one that was announcing the Anthropic donation, where Anthropic was actually talking about how MCP servers may not be the best way for tools, agents like Claude and Cursor and things to actually access external information, that they may be better at just writing the code that connects them to the API to fetch the data that they need, and then just saving that. It saves tokens, it saves having to load all of these functions up front from all the servers that you've connected to Claude Code or to Cursor or to GitHub Copilot. So it still kind of remains to be seen, I guess, if MCPs are the best way to do it, because the LLMs are quite good at writing their own API calls to fetch data. But, for if you're not a person who wants to do that, or you have a very public API that everybody wants to be able to access, like GitHub or something, it probably still makes sense. But it was just interesting to see how quickly the thought is evolving as well of, token usage and context window management and things like that, and how MCPs play into it.
Yep.
I have to imagine that very few people are actually using these things today. And I think the only ones that once again, are the people listening to this podcast, the type of people that want to experiment with these types of tools. It for sure has not hit mainstream non-tech people in any way, shape, or form. Like, nobody's going in and installing these things in ChatGPT and using them as part of their daily lives. And I wonder if this sort of thing will ever bridge that gap, because I could see a world, it's not all that inconceivable, that in ChatGPT you'd have some integration and it had you do an OAuth integration with some external account, then it could access that, and then the underlying implementation was done through MCP. That's a very plausible place that this could end up with, but we're not there yet. It's really just for small circles of tech people using it. And I think the results have been kind of mixed for us. Like, I've had some good things that have happened with MCP servers, but I've had a lot of nonsense as well. And I'm still not sure whether this is going to be like a cornerstone of the future of AI in our world or not. And we'll see how it plays out.
I had an interesting conversation with some folks at like reInvent, in the crazy huge breakfast hall, about MCP versus doing your own tools. Mm-hmm. And I get the feeling that a lot of people like hang negativity on MCP just because the tools that the MCP is actually providing to the AI aren't the right ones that you should be using, or there are too many of them and you're not being selective about it and that kind of stuff. And it's like, so, the protocol, people are like, I moved from MCP, I got rid of MCP and got, moved back to my own custom tools. And it's like, yeah, well, that's probably actually, that makes sense, right? It wasn't really MCP. It was the tools that were coming through MCP that were like, it was just not you really want to give an AI the right set of tools, usually like in the 5, 10, 15 range and so that it doesn't hallucinate and go off and just start, trying all kinds of stuff. And you want them to be, and you don't want to have to rely on the AI to actually like pick the right sequence of tools, because after 3, they basically all just like, nope, you're not going to get any deterministic stuff after that. So it's not like you want to just give it your API and say like, okay, first you need to get the user ID and then you need to call get inventory with that user ID. And it's like, no, that's not going to freaking work.
It's going to screw it up.
That's going to screw it up. It's going to screw it every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have a MCP server at Blues, and we've got a handful of tools in there. And ironically, the one that I've found the most useful is we have one that all it does is validate APIs of our main API, because the biggest issue that I have when using with our own internal stuff is that the AI will just hallucinate very small things in the APIs. It'll make up things that sound plausible. It actually lots of times exposes where our APIs aren't the greatest. Like, it'll come up with better APIs than what actually exist sometimes. It's like, oh yeah, that probably should be the default sort order, but you know what, it's not. But the MCP that we have that validates those APIs turns out to be really useful, because when Claude or whatever makes up these APIs, oftentimes because that tool is so specific, it invokes it pretty regularly, and then it's got a schema behind it, so it knows immediately if it screwed something up. And so I found that one to be super useful. Whereas some of our tools that are more vague, it's harder to know the impact they've had.
Yeah. But if I'm correct, because I haven't looked too deeply into our tool, I don't think that it has that many different tool calling functions. I think it just has a handful that it uses.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not overwhelmed with options and choices all the time.
Yep, love it.
But we're also still just making this up as we go.
Oh yeah,
like everybody else. Like,
everybody is. And then in the real world, like there's not techie-verse, nobody's using this stuff. Like, we keep talking about how like Copilot is used by like 1% of the people who have access to it, and Paige had a hilarious little anecdote on X. Who knows if it was true or not? Like the guy's like, I rolled out AI to my company, and I'm getting a raise, but nobody's using it, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I just
we're AI enabled.
Yeah, AI enabled. I have it come up with some graph that's up and to the right, show it to the execs. They're all like, "Yep, done."
Totally made up.
Totally made up.
The time savings and how many people are using it. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's there.
Right. Exactly. 40,000 hours
saved. Right.
I take my employees, multiply it by a number I just randomly came up with.
Yes.
Yep.
I just saw, and the ChatGPT just released 5.2, their latest model earlier today, and I was looking through their blog post, and they had some numbers in there about percentage-wise more productive. And I didn't have time because I just read this, but I was wondering, what's your source for that? How are you deriving some of these numbers? Because they seem completely made up. But
yeah, I don't know how you measure any of that, really.
We're not really in a fact-based world anymore. We jumped that timeline.
Yeah, we just make up stuff, and now that's the reality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
All right, well, our last news story of today is about CSS. And what caught my eye earlier this week is that Google came up with this CSS wrapped blog post, which they did this last year. And it's obviously inspired by Spotify's whole wrap thing that they do, that now it's seemingly every service out there does something like that. But Google's DevRel team, or whoever put this together, did a really awesome job. This is a pretty detailed write-up where they go through all major CSS, most major CSS things that shipped or that are coming in 2025. All of them have a really detailed description. They have browser support. They have demos. The ones that don't have broad browser support, they put in a little video so that you could see it even if the browser you're not viewing in doesn't support it. So it's a really, really awesome write-up. And so for the next 3 hours, we're going to go through each individual feature in this. So I picked out 4 things just to mention real quick. And then, if you want to check, the link is in the show notes. It's definitely worth, at the very least, a skim to go through and see what you can recognize and what you can think is cool. Some of these things we've talked about a little bit, but I thought it would be worth doing. It's a wrapped format. It's the end of the year, so we can go over what's the latest and greatest in CSS that we might be able to use now or use in the near future. So without further ado, the first on their list, and the first I wanted to bring up, is what they call invoker commands. And what this is for things like dialogues and popovers. So normally, if you want to show a dialogue, you usually have a button, and that button usually has an on click. And you click the button, the popover shows up, or something similar to that. And what this is some new attributes you can put on the button so that it can open the dialogue without JavaScript.
Love it.
So for example, you could say button command 4 equals, and then you point it to the ID of the dialogue. And then you also have to give it a command attribute. But basically, the long and short, we don't have to go over the exact syntax, but just a way of launching popovers or dialogues with no JavaScript.
So smart.
Just through some attributes. And
Beautiful.
Really, it's not even a CSS thing because it's more of an HTML thing, I think, technically. But regardless, it's just a way of wiring all that together. And this is in Chrome. It is also in Firefox. It is not in Safari quite yet. And this one doesn't fall back very well. So you're probably going to need to either polyfill it or just wait for support before using it. But it's a cool feature, and it'll be nice in the future to not have to use JavaScript, because I've been writing those stupid on-click handlers for over 20 years at this point. If I can retire those, I will be quite happy.
No more jQuery.
Yeah, exactly. So similarly, there is the names of these are always just so cryptic, but interest invokers, which is another feature. And this is one that's designed to basically make tooltips easier. So we've already talked about at different times in the show the popover attribute and popovers, how those are coming to the web, and they're actually already here and usable in some capacity. A lot of the features on this list are just ways of improving popovers and making them just more usable. There's a new hint attribute for working with popovers. So this interest invokers is a way where you can add an interest for attribute, and it provides what they say is a native declarative way to style an element when users, quote, show interest without fully activating it. The idea is that tooltips are really hard to build in a way that work how you want on desktop and mobile and tablet, because sometimes people are using a mouse, sometimes people are using their fingers, sometimes people are using whatever. And this is supposed to be a way that provides just a seamless way to implement tooltips for all three of them while still letting you style them appropriately using the popover attribute. So again, head to the blog post if you want to see a detailed syntax of this and demos and whatnot. But that's just a big theme throughout this. Just we got popovers in 2024. So a lot of the work here is making them more usable for more edge cases and such, which is pretty cool as well. Third on the list, customizable selects. Probably the single biggest CSS thing, honestly, of like the last decade. I think this is something that I've quite literally wanted since the 90s. So it's cool to see this actually finally shipping. It is shipped in Chrome. So once again, this is another one where you kind of have to wait, although this one falls back pretty decently because the fallback here is you just get a normal select. So this is something you could start experimenting with now, because worst case, you just have a very basic looking select dropdowns for other browsers, which is still usable and not the end of the world. But essentially, you apply a appearance property to your select element, and this switches it to a new minimal state that's optimized for customization. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do from there. But the cool thing is that when you style it, the browser takes care of some of the basic browser stuff, meaning the select is always going to appear, well, the options are always going to appear on top of all other content. The browser also makes sure the options are always visible. So if you try to do something that forces the options off the screen, the browser will help rein that in. So you get some cool stuff built into the browser, but you do get the chance to actually finally style, select, and option elements, which is pretty cool.
Finally.
Very cool.
And that's really all I wanted to highlight. There's some other cool stuff. It gets lower level, which is actually kind of interesting towards the end of it. There's a new move before DOM function that you can use that allows you to move elements in the DOM without destroying them, which is usually when you do DOM elements, it basically just kills them and brings them back. So if you want to move, say, like a video, that means usually you have to stop the video. You can't just move it while it's playing. Iframes will always reload. Even things like input fields having focus. So if you have a focused input field, if you ever try to move that, it'll lose focus. So there's a new DOM element that will actually let you keep doing that. And this is in Chrome and Firefox. This is another one that's not in Safari quite yet. But when it's there, we'll have a nicer way of moving things around in the DOM as well.
Is it a DOM element or there's a DOM function? Okay.
It's a function. So it's
cool. That makes more sense.
You pick it with query selector. Selector, and you want to move it somewhere, which is not a super common thing, but I've totally had to do this before.
Oh, totally.
I've had to move a video, and then like you get into some chaos if you want to try to move a video and not reset certain things. So it's just a nice little detail.
And the product manager is always like, well, let's just make it so that you can pop it out and then move it around. And it should be easy.
Drag it anywhere.
Drag it anywhere. And then like if you hit the button, it goes back into its slot. And you're like, yeah.
I'm still waiting for better things. Maybe for next year, better iframe styling options, because I swear that's going to be the death of me. Because I had to. That was my last video drama. Is I needed it to look good in a small box and then also be responsive. And you still have to do some absurd hacks to do that still in 2025. And I don't know why it's still so hard.
And iframes are getting crazy important. Like So
well,
weirdly,
we've given up on custom video hosting. Everything's a YouTube video at this point.
Exactly.
So, and that's always coming in through an iframe. So, oh well.
Nah.
But CSS Wrapped, this is a super high quality write up. So just if you're looking to catch up on where CSS has been at and what stuff is new, highly recommend it. The high quality writing, great demos. It's worth spending a half hour looking through and checking out what's new.
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff happening in CSS. It seems like every year now. So yeah, it's really nice they've done something like this to just get it all together in one place for you.
Yep. All right. I know we have at least one lightning item, so why don't we head into that?
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, I just flagged one quick thing that has nothing to do with front end, but I just thought was really interesting. So Walt Disney Company announced today, as we record this, that they're going to make a $1 billion equity investment in OpenAI and allow users to make videos with its copyrighted characters on its Sora app. So
what could possibly go wrong?
They say as part of the startup's new 3-year licensing agreement with Disney, Sora users will be able to make content with more than 200 characters across Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars starting next year. And I don't know what I think about this, to be honest with you.
Man, there are going to be some guardrails in that thing.
Yeah.
There better be. This feels to me like Disney has kind of given in. Like, if you can't beat them, join them and get some money out of it, because people have been making really great videos with Disney characters illegally before this. Like, there was that whole thing earlier this year, whenever it was, like the Stormtrooper Diaries, where they were
those are great. Yeah.
I mean, they are. They're really entertaining. Yeah. And they were all completely Disney IP because they're Star Wars. But so I think this is just Disney being like, we can't fight this. It's already out there. We might as well at least make some money off of it.
Yeah, I think, like, for example, our family is pretty big Stitch fans. I'll just hold up for the YouTubers, even the mug I'm drinking out of right now. And one of the first things my kids tried to do when they first got access to AI tools was, of course, make pictures of Stitch doing various things. And of course, none of that is actually allowed. Mm-hmm. So I definitely see this from Disney's side, that this is a chance for all that viral stuff, which for the most part helps them from a marketing type perspective. But I do wonder, just, man, the guardrails are probably going to be intense behind these.
That will probably be the first thing that people try to do, if they haven't already, is jailbreak it so that Disney characters are doing inappropriate adult content related things and, using illicit substances and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll get you kicked out of the park. But it's as a lot of my friends found out when it came to Disney nights when we were in high school. There's this every year high schools in Florida would go and like take all the kids to Disney for one night, and kids would like try and smoke weed on some of the dark rides, and then they'd find out pretty quick that these dark rides all have a way where Disney can monitor you and like pull you off the track,
nice,
and then kick you out of the park. Yeah, so there's definitely going to be things in layers. It's part of some attraction where you just stand up in front of some video wall and they put in, Stitch behind you or whatever, and you get some takeaway thing and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, for Disney, in a way, this is kind of free money. If just market from the characters that you already have as well. So I can see it from that perspective as well. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this moving forward too.
It's like we've said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, and it's already all out there and the models have been trained on it, especially the generation models for images and videos. So yeah, you're not going to stop it from happening. You might as well license it and make some money off of it while it's happening anyway.
Yeah, and OpenAI side, for the most part, they just have to take some of their blacklist, just remove a few lines from it, and
right,
they're good to go.
Yeah, I just got access to like Super Grok because of the Tanstech AI stuff, and man, the videos that they can generate are just amazing. Like, the quality is crazy.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Right. Do we have any other bonus news this week?
Not this time.
I think so.
Not this time.
Let's talk about what's making us happy.
Woo. Yes.
Paige, what's making you happy this week?
All right. For the third year in a row, I am saying that the twinkly Christmas lights that we have been touting on this
Oh,
show
man. Yeah.
are making me happy. So, like everyone else who's ever had Christmas lights, you put them away and they're all working at the end of the year, and then you take them out of the box, and the next year half the strand is out. Just no matter what, box is stored in our garage. It's not like it's being tossed around. It's not like it's being fried or put underwater or anything, but they just are crap. So 2 years ago, I think it was, third year, TJ found these twinkly Christmas lights, and he told us about them, and they are awesome.
They're the bomb.
LED.
So good.
They're off of Amazon. They have their own website as well, so you can get all kinds of other lights for your house or for your bushes or whatever, but we just got the typical twinkly Christmas light strands and took them out again this year, put them on the tree, lit up just like it has every year since, and we've got, I think, like holiday theme or something going, which is red and green, and they just like gently pulse. But we also had snow where it like goes white and it flies up the tree, and I mean, it's the best. It's so good.
We just have it stuck on like infinite rainbow. It just seems
That's
to be the
also a
one
good
that we
option.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can set them. So we have ours. Their tree comes on every morning at 6:30 in the morning.
Yep.
It shuts off at 10 or 11 at night, whatever we got it configured to do. So you can do that.
Yep.
It scans the tree. So part of the reason it can do these patterns is it has you scan the tree so it knows where each light is so that it can make more interesting patterns.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is it just works, because it was the same thing for me. We got them out, we put them up, they worked. And that's really that's the biggest thing I'm looking for with these lights, because I'm with you, Paige. We made the mistake of we have a fake Christmas tree because we're not bothering with that every year. And we got one that had lights built into it.
Yes.
And never do that. Just for anybody listening, do not buy a fake Christmas tree with lights built in, because they're immediately going to break and fall apart. And then you've got a tree covered with lights that don't work.
Yes.
And then
the middle section on our old lighted tree went out.
Yep. Same with ours. Ours just doesn't light up anymore. So, and it's just a huge hassle. So that's what started us down this path. And then we got to get an affiliate code on this thing when we link out to it, because
yeah, right.
We could pay for all this podcast hosting and everything. We've
So
we got to reach out to the Twinkly people, see what they can do for us, so we can get a special like front and fire bundle or something.
Yeah, it is good. I did say I did switch routers from last year to this year. So there was like I had to like reset it and blah, 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 blah. Do the usual kind of connections things that you have to do nowadays because it's 2025 and everything's connected to everything.
Oh, yeah. We had firmware updates that were behind.
Oh, right. Gotta get the firmware updates. Gotta get the firmware updates.
Same, I got it too. So I think my first time I've ever updated the firmware on Christmas tree lights.
Right?
Yes.
And what does it do? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's probably a security fix because all that IoT like stuff generally has like security issues.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it just worked.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
I'm fine with it if it works.
Yep. Best investment in Christmas decorations.
Jack, what is making you happy this week?
Underwear, but not that kind of underwear. So, as Paige as a spit take, I'm getting another standing desk for my office. So I'll have 2 standing desks in my office. Crazy. And I had spent a lot of time building out like 3D printed stuff for mounting all the stuff underneath the table. Yeah. And it was all custom. It turns out that there's actually there's like a full standard called multiboard, so you can kind of like put that, it's like pegboard that you put underneath, and then you can get stuff into. And then there's a standard that sits on top of that called underwear, which is specifically around like the stuff you need to like wrap power bricks and route cables and do all that stuff, and it's just all really nicely put together, all standardized. And so when you get it done, it's like it looks good. And I've decided that I'm actually going to do all my power all the multi-boards going to be in black, and then all the power stuff's going to be in red, and then data is going to be blue, and I think video is going to be green, so you can kind of look underneath of it and see like, oh, okay, this is going here and that's going there and all that.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it.
Sounds
Funny thing is, I actually
organized.
don't need much of it for the I need a lot of it for my video setup because I had so much stuff.
Cords and cables.
And blah, 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 blah. The one that I'm actually getting, the secondary one is just for my work setup. And I think I've got I don't really have much. I've got webcam, whatever.
I think
a KVM.
I think you answered my question. So one of your desks is gonna be just for high-end video shoots, and then the other one is just for working,
just
presumably
daily working kind of stuff. That's
okay.
Nice.
On my window, so I can look out and see the bunnies and the squirrels, finding the nuts that they've spent all summer digging up, putting in my backyard. Now they're digging up all my backyard.
I know it's totally a meme, but it's totally, if you work from home, being able to see outside and see animals just brings
huge.
It's actually helps your well-being legitimately.
Yeah.
So I've got a window right here as I'm looking out, and deer come by. Sometimes I see turkeys. I see squirrels all the time, and it's great. This is the little things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a hummingbird that I see sometimes outside of one of my windows, and it's always really cool to see it zip by.
We've got a neighborhood woodpecker that I've been told by my wife I need to chase away when I see it, because it comes to our deck and starts eating our deck. But it's gorgeous. This thing is really, really fun.
Yeah, it's got
just
the
also
red head.
destructive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's making me happy this week is a band. I feel like we don't cover music a lot in this segment at all, but I've kind of been obsessed over the last few months with a band called Mammoth. And it's a band that is the head person, and basically the person who does all the music, does the singing, he even plays most of the instruments at times, is Wolfgang Van Halen. And Eddie Van Halen's son.
Yeah.
And dude is incredibly talented. I've been kind of obsessed. I mean, it makes some sense, right? Given the lineage, but music is really good, and they're going on a tour. And so I'm going to see them in a few months in Grand Rapids here, and I'm really excited about it. But my Spotify Wrapped came up, and they were my number one, band for the year, and I've just been rocking out to them almost every day. So if you're into rock music, if you like Van Halen back in the day, this is going to feel like a modern take on a lot of the same sort of music, and it's just so good. I've been jamming out.
Nice.
I read an interview with him about his music and his dad and all that, and one of the things was he was trying to record with his dad's Frankencaster, which is this weird. I don't know, maybe that's not what it's called. It's called Franken something, but it's like a guitar that his dad bolted together from spare parts, which you do, right? And he said it was just it's an insanely hard instrument to play. It doesn't stay in tune. It's all over the place, but it's it's something that connects back to his dad. He was obviously a legendary guitar player.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I first heard them on the radio. Do either of you still listen to the radio in the car, by the way?
We listen to Sirius sometimes.
Rarely, but sometimes, yeah.
See, I'm always on the radio.
You're on terrestrial radio, FM,
AM.
You're on WXYZ.
QRIF 106.1 here in Lansing. So if you're a local.
What is it? The something. It's always the something. It's
106.1,
the bomb.
I think it's Lansing's rock station.
Home of rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
It's still exactly as you always thought it was. I mean,
sometimes
I listen to podcasts,
crazy morning shows.
Yeah, the weird hosts.
Yeah. But sometimes, I discover actual good music this way. So that's how I first heard them, and yeah.
No, that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, gotta support the locals, right? Support
exactly.
local businesses. We've been doing a lot of that. We do not shop from Amazon unless we absolutely have to anymore. And it's all local support. Even if it costs a little bit more.
I wish I could do that more, but some stuff is only available on Amazon.
Amazon
you can't get it locally.
Crazy long tail, especially for you guys. With the IoT stuff in particular, you're never gonna there's no local vendors that are gonna give you some weird rando chip or something like that. That's Amazon, or that's or Egghead or whatever,
Yeah, we kind of try to walk a balance. We buy plenty of stuff off Amazon, but we try to support local people when it makes sense and when it's possible.
Yeah,
like my radio stations.
There you go.
All right. Well, I think this has been another episode. So thanks everybody for listening. We are going to do one more episode before the holidays. So we're going to have a fun one for you next week. And then we will be taking a week off after that for the Christmas break. And then we will be back in the new year. But in the meantime, you can check out all our socials. Those are all in the show notes. You can join us on Discord. We hang out there and talk about all the fun stuff we're talking about on the show. And I think that is our episode for this week, though. So thanks, everybody, for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you then.